This is the story of two ordinary families in a race to help save the planet. We're challenging them to change their habits. With the help of energy experts and their own personal coaches, each family is ready to go green. At the end of the 3-month competition, the winning family will drive away in a brand new electric car. The families are learning to go green, but can they change their lifestyles without giving up or cracking under the pressure? Find out next on The Greenest House. Last time on The Greenest House, although the Edisons won the road rally, opinions differ on the outcome.
How do you think it went?
Fabulous.
Horrible.
It was very competitive. It was pretty intense. It was pretty impressive, I thought, how the families dealt with it.
Wanted the Falcones to do as well as they could and wanted them to win. I think they could have done a little bit better at the beginning, fairly easily. Nobody took the bus.
So I'm thinking to give Alina some rest. At least the two of us take the bus and maybe you guys bike.
Well, I think that if we'd gotten on the bus, that would have been 4 alternative modes of transportation to their 3. That would have probably made us win.
I guess if there was some way we could have got onto the bus and utilized that somehow, but it didn't seem fast enough during a competition.
But what the coaches don't disagree on is their team's performance in the race.
I was really, really proud of them on Saturday. Their strategy was just to go as hard and fast as they could at every moment, and they did an excellent job.
Alina did such a good job. I mean, she was a rock star. Through the whole race, she did really, really well. She carried her own weight, except for right there at the end where her dad carried her. And even after that, she got down and kept running. All of them had their heart in the competition, and she couldn't have done a better job.
And for the Edisons, the hard-won prize of a new Globe commuter bicycle has come with an unexpected bonus.
Todd actually is now commuting to work every day, taking the bus or his bike.
Wow.
For the Falcones, their bad bikes, hard to ride, uncomfortable, and too small, continue to dog their overall performance.
I kind of felt like they had an advantage because they're more familiar with bicycling than we are.
My brother really needs a better bike because his bike is about my size.
And Kim only has one thing to say to Todd.
Visualize yourself in that electric car.
While Todd visualizes life with an electric car, Carrie is thinking about issues with the house.
All winter long, our house is so dusty. Like, I would go and dust a bookshelf, and then the next day I would go and it would,
A dusty house in the winter may not seem like cause for alarm, but we decide to call in David Blake of Northwest Clean Air Agency, and he heads straight to the crawl space.
This is the door to the crawl space. Air moves from down to up through a house. If you can see the smoke's whipping in. Where's it going when it gets in there? It's working its way upstairs and out through the top of the house, carrying with it whatever's in the crawl space. The gas forced air furnace is right downstairs here with both supply and return ductwork, which is very imperfectly sealed at the metal-to-metal connections, which means that it leaks on both sides. So on the supply side, it's blowing heat out into the crawl space. On the return side, it's sucking in crawl space air. So whatever's in the crawl space, and that's nothing good, it's being sucked into the system and delivered upstairs.
From the basement to the rest of the house, energy issues can often be air quality issues as well.
I had no idea air quality was even an issue.
Well, it certainly is, and we're learning more and more, especially as we seal up our houses. The principle to keep in mind is when you do one thing to a house, it may be affecting something else. So you really need to know what you're doing when you start messing with the systems. Insulating the house and getting it really energy efficient up here, what can happen then is you're keeping all the moisture in here and you're getting excess condensation, potentially mold growth. Only 2% of the energy in your home is in the air. 98% of the energy is in your stuff that you've warmed up. And so we're not asking you to open your doors and windows and leave them open all day. We're just looking for a brief flush out, 3 to 5 minutes. On a windy day, it might only take 2 minutes to completely do a complete air exchange and blow the place out. Your stuff is still warm, and since there's no mass to air, it's very quickly going to come back to room temperature that you want. If you come home at dinner time and you can still smell breakfast, you know you're not getting much in the way of air exchange. So you want it to smell neutral and fresh.
And if you were thinking that a newer home might mean better air quality, then you'd be wrong. Over at the Falcones, David has more concerns.
See the carpet? This is an interesting and very common phenomenon. See the dirt at the edge of the carpet?
Yeah.
That's the carpet acting as a filter.
As a filter, yeah.
And it's just showing you that air is moving one direction or another past that carpet, trapping the dust in the air. But that's very common.
Unsealed fireplaces provide a direct air leak to the great outdoors.
Well, yeah, that's a lot of, air leakage.
That's a lot of air leakage. That's going really fast.
It's good to have a tight house, but it's got to be compensated for with excellent mechanical ventilation that really works, that you've thought out, and the proof is in the pudding. You know, your windows aren't fogging up, you're not having mold show up in cool corners.
Yeah.
You have to manage that moisture. If we're producing more moisture indoors than we're ventilating out, ultimately you're going to get mold growth. You've got double pane windows. You should not have condensation on the room side of double pane glass.
Right.
If you do, that's a warning sign.
Okay.
Because if you're getting condensation on the glass is not that much cooler than the exterior wall beside it.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's wet all winter long with water streaming down and pounding on the windowsills, I guarantee you the wall is wet too. You just can't see the moisture until the mold starts showing up. And then suddenly you find that you're composting yourself in your house. Water's streaming down your double pane windows and you're going, what? Because you're not ventilating any moisture out. You know, you're producing all this moisture and you're not getting rid of it. So,
well, this is the same duct mastic material, but it's in a bucket.
Coming up, Team Edison gets messy with the mastic.
You can try foaming it.
It's air sealing time for the Edisons. That means it's time to suit up and head back to the crawl space, much to Carrie's delight. Robert Stockman with Pinnacle Inspection is there to give them a hand.
So what we're going to be doing here is showing you how to seal off some leakage areas in your ductwork, around the door jambs, plumbing and heating and wiring penetrations through the underside of the floor. Duct tape is the worst thing that you can use for ductwork. Remove this stuff because it loses its grip about 24 hours after it's applied. We've got two choices. One is a duct caulking that you can use. It's specially made for ducts itself. And letting this dry for 24, 48 hours, whatever, and then you can just smear it on. What we're looking for are all the horizontal joints to be sealed off because these connections are the most leaky. Well, this is the same duct mastic material, but it's in a bucket form. And you just take a swab of material and goop it on there. Get it nice and thick on these corners, about an 1/8 inch.
What about on top of this? Is there a way to get at it from up above?
Whatever you can access is what you want to get. The other areas I'd like you to look at are where your supply ducts come through your floor, the floor registers or the boots. But down here where it's accessible is these areas around here you want to apply a nice bead of caulk to. Yeah, so here, you guys should try this, okay? You ready?
I'm too short.
You're too short? Well, where's your ladder? Are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
You're afraid to come in the crawl space?
Yeah, I'm not real fond of the crawl space.
I always say that crawl spaces are the worst concoction ever created by man.
So we've got to do all the ducts down here then.
All the ducts. The other concerns or issues would be spray foaming. There's different types of foams that you can get. This one is a low expansion foam designed for windows and doors. You can try foaming it.
Okay.
I'm not sure how. What we don't want is for it to expand and go down and look like an eyesore. So any air gaps and things like that are light leakage. That's an air gap.
Oh.
Okay, just
little
Can we just foam the whole, fill this up with foam?
Foam sealing doesn't seem to be Carrie's cup of tea.
I appreciate the foam workers of the world, but I am not one of them.
which is bad news for Todd.
I think I'm not going to be doing that crawl space thing. Thinking that Todd's going to have to pull for the team on that one. I think he enjoys that type of work. He's very detail oriented. Yeah. How you feeling, Dad?
When am I gonna have time to do that?
I don't know.
Maybe I'll get the kids to help me.
This weekend, maybe.
On the to-do list for the Edison's crawlspace: mastic on duct seams, foam sealing along doors, windows, and gaps, insulating the water pipes. Completing the list seems like a daunting job, but it can have a huge return on energy bills and air quality. And while the Edisons are fretting about their to-dos in the crawlspace, the Falcones get to spend some quality time with the Miles electric truck. They need to pick up 2 couches for the family room, and rather than rent a gas-powered truck, they try an alternative. There are some differences when driving an all-electric vehicle, however.
It takes a little bit of getting used to. It's a lot different. And when it stops, there's like no noise at all. Of course, it only seats 2, not 4, but there's plenty of room to tote stuff around in the back, so that's pretty good.
Nick seems to be more pumped up about the truck's possibilities.
This thing runs pretty smooth. Battery makes it sound kind of like a train or a spaceship. That's pretty cool. Look at that, that's the battery gauge. It has nothing to do with gas. I think we're gonna hit warp 5 pretty soon in this crazy spaceship truck. All right.
Coming up, the Family to Family Challenge is all about water, and the families find out some surprising facts about H2O and yards. The teams are being judged in 4 categories: family to family challenges, where the teams will battle head to head; biggest overall reduction in water, energy, transportation, and waste; building envelope leakage, also known as air sealing; and in-home challenges, where the teams will battle their own bad habits within the home. We won't know the results of most of these until the 3-month competition is over. With the Edisons winning the last 2 challenges, they currently lead by 20 points, but the team who wins this challenge will rack up 10 more. It may come as a surprise that our yards suck up more water than almost any other single source, but there are simple solutions. Rain barrels offer a great opportunity for another family-to-family challenge.
In the US, we use about 7 billion gallons of water on a lawn every year, and that's about 1/3 of the annual consumption. Isn't that amazing? Now, your challenge today is going to test your handiness. This is an adults only challenge, this one. Over here we have some rain barrels. They're in pieces. All the pieces and the tools and the instructions you need are there. Your challenge today is you're going to start back there at the start line. You are going to run to this end of the field. You're going to put together the 2 barrels and you're going to carry the barrels back over the start line. The team that first crosses the line with their 2nd barrel is going to win 20 points and a rainwater catchment system to take home and add to your house. Are you ready? We're ready. Are you set? Yes. Go!
Lay barrel over on its side. Drill 7/8 inch hole with 2 inches from the bottom of the barrel directly in line underneath one of the bung holes on top of the barrel. Okay.
Okay, this one needs to go on top then. This one needs to go on the bottom.
Okay, and this is, so let's do that. We're going to do the bottom one first. Pull 2 inches from the bottom of the barrel. Directly in line underneath one of the bung holes on top of the barrel.
Okay, you gotta read louder.
Okay.
1 inch hole?
Yep. So here's a bung hole right here then.
Okay.
Right here, so directly underneath 2 inches.
Okay. 1, 2, right there. That's about 2.
Yep. We're good. We're good.
Okay, now you gotta read because we might have to put some. We might have
Okay.
to add.
Is that it? That's all we're gonna do?
No.
That's all the pieces there are. That's all we gotta do, Daddy.
What about this part?
I don't know.
Good job, guys.
Hey, well done, Edisons.
We had a good plan going in, and so it made all the difference. And for me to be able to focus on what I'm doing, I'm not thinking about other things going on, so it helped a lot.
The worst part was losing. So I hate losing. I just can't believe we lost. So other than that, that was the hardest part.
You know, we need to work on communication.
Okay, teams. Well, congratulations to both. Particular congratulations to the Falcones. You get a rainwater catchment system, these 2 barrels, and also the 95-gallon barrel as well.
The Cypress Designs 95-gallon water cistern is designed to fit flat against the house, is self-cleaning, and has an overflow system. They can be painted to match your house, too.
Congratulations, Edisons. You did a fabulous job. Still together, still smiling? Yeah. The water challenge doesn't end here, however. Because, you know, we said that 1/3 of that water goes on the lawn. The other 2/3 of water that we use is inside the house. Your coach is going to be giving you some tips and information on how to reduce your indoor water consumption and get you ready for the next thing, which is going to be the 5-minute shower challenge. Also live on video.
Alistair reminds the team about another important part of the competition, recruiting more people to help out.
The thing we have to think about is all those other team members you need to be adding. So you've been strategizing, you've been thinking about who you're going to pick. Time to pick up the phone and start doing some recruiting. Okay? Good job, team.
Coming up, it's a foam ceiling showdown in the Falcones' basement, and Nick is quick on the draw.
Dad, see? Right there.
The coaches check in with both teams to see what their weekly average mileage is and to find out how much they'll have to cut back on their driving.
You guys have been keeping track of your mileage since June 13th. It looks like we have a total together of 341 miles per week. What we want to do is try and reduce that by 20%. That's
68 less miles.
68 less miles.
A week?
A week.
Okay. Well, I'm just looking at one day, it's running errands, 52 miles.
Right.
What did I do? 52 miles worth.
We need to think about how we can commute without driving and other little trips we can combine or condense, you know, just use the car to do a bunch of things at once instead of making trips back and forth. And I think the thing that we really need to consider here as well is that we've got to do better than the Edisons. Any way that we can. Fidel and the Edisons will not come close to taking the Falcone family. The Falcones are going to dominate.
Okay.
There's no way that we won't.
And while the Falcones are concerned about catching up with the Edisons, Todd is worried about Carrie's mileage.
So it looks like a lot of, fishing, fun. It looks like a lot of errands?
Yeah,
A lot
mostly
of it-
errands and leisure stuff with the kids.
Okay.
The work's pretty steady at 8 miles round trip.
Okay.
And then here's Carrie's log.
Carrie's
You can
log.
see it's a little less detailed. All she's done is list how far she's gone.
Okay.
But she's certainly chalked up a lot more miles.
Right.
She's
So
going to Mount Vernon, Seattle, Mount Vernon, LaConner, Oak
And that's for
Harbor.
work?
Some of these are work. Only this one is for leisure.
Okay. So your total miles as a couple are about 980. We can round up to about 1,000 miles. And so your goal in the next 2-week period is to reduce the mileage by 20%. So we're looking at about 200 miles.
Wow, it's going to be tough for me because I'm starting a new schedule,
You do have a
which
new
takes
challenge.
me to work twice a day instead of once a day.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be at a huge disadvantage.
We're going to really challenge you to see if there's ways, even though you have that extra challenge, if you can still reduce it by 20%.
Okay.
Okay?
The kids aren't really concerned about the details of the competition, but Nick's in for a surprise when Robert comes to teach Team Falcone about air sealing. With mastic in hand, the first stop is the basement, of course.
Up in those areas.
It's simple. Go try it.
Look at that. See? Right there. The unseen, the untold leakage. Right there in that far corner. That's where you got to get at.
So you want me to do that right now?
I want you to do that. I want to see how you do that.
Okay.
So,
Oh, come on, work for me.
there you go. Yeah, see?
Is that working?
Wow, good job, Nick.
See, I have skills.
Wow, you do.
I know.
I didn't know that. Now I do.
No, you don't. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
You get the bottom, too.
Get
I think
the
I
top.
did.
And upstairs, the first challenge is to suit up.
Thanks for the help, sweetie.
Before the return air vent can be sealed, it first has to be vacuumed out. And mastic added to all the interior seams to prevent costly hot air from leaking out.
We're not winning any points for speed here, are we?
And then it's Nick's turn up the ladder.
So what am I doing?
Oh.
Okay.
You're climbing up to look at the air gaps on top of that thing from the top side. You want a flashlight? Yeah.
Very nice. Wow.
Okay, now look down below, right next to where this
Right here?
this metal part.
I see a gap right on here.
Okay. You want to seal those gaps. That's bad. Light leakage tells you there's air leakage.
Yeah. There's plenty of air and light leakage up here.
Oh, this guy's a pro. So we want to try to get as much as we can because it's easiest from down below. And if we can't get it all, then we have to get it from up above.
While the families learn what they need to do in their homes to save energy, the Bear and Green team helps them out by installing programmable thermostats in both homes. The thermostats offer pre-programmed settings to regulate the temperature day or night, summer or winter. They're one of the easiest ways to cut back on energy and save money. And there's one more surprise in store. The Edisons have been given a used bike in great condition, and they've got unexpected plans for it.
So we've got a really cool gift for you guys from the Edisons. They wanted to donate it to you because they just got that other sweet bike.
Wow.
But this is a nice bike. It's a Gary Fisher.
Whoa, sandals, no helmet.
Wow, look at that.
Whoa!
It stops. I think it stops.
My bike doesn't have rear brakes.
Oh, so you're used to having to reef on it.
And look,
And look, let's cut the little...
shocks, so I can go over bumps.
That's right,
You know,
that's
my
right.
quick.
But by giving the Falcones a new bike,
It's a nice bike.
Thank you, Edisons. This is great.
have the Edisons given away their edge? Next time on The Greenest House, we take a field trip to the hardware store for some energy-saving ideas, and the families get unplugged.